Right, this is Apollo Philip, yeah? Mission Common Sense. Shall I show you a few things? It's actually daylight, hang on. If you can see faintly, look, you can see the moon's up there, it's actually daylight. Shall I show you? Shall I actually just show you a few things, right? So the moon's up there, see the moon's up there, you can see the visibly moon's up there. I'm gonna go a different way now. So there I am. There's a few things I want to say. It's called Apollo Philip. But I don't need to make a massive space rocket and spend billions of pounds on a space rocket to go to the moon when I can just make the moon. The position of the moon is dictated, like the orbit and the position of the moon in the sky is dictated by a guy called Philip John Platts. Have you ever met a guy called Philip John Platts? Anyone in my history from 1991, have you ever met a guy called Philip John Platts? Who's actually a lovely young man and doesn't have mental health, and like it's actually got the kindest heart. And it's like the moon's up there, if you can see it in the sky. Let's just walk down, let's actually go a different way, right? Oh, there's a few things I want to get off my chest, perhaps you've met me, perhaps you've like played football with me or like bullied me in my past, or perhaps you've not listened to me throughout my whole life, or perhaps you've like labelled me as bipolar and psychotic for my whole life, when actually it's just a load of rubbish. Do you know what I mean? It's like, let's actually just see if the moon's actually going to follow me, right? Hang on. You see how like now, like the moon's up there, you can see the moon's up there. It's like as I'm going to come, so it's not just going down Warrington Road, it's actually like, it's like literally like, have you ever met a guy called Philip John Platts, who's like a lovely man, like better, like did Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, or Jesus, or Michael Jackson, or even Moses did the moon follow their every move? Do you know what I mean? Could Jesus sing and dance like Michael Jackson? So he's not God then, is he? Do you know what I mean? Like even I'm not perfect. There's things I can't do, figure skating. I can't run faster than Usain Bolt. So even I'm not perfect. It's like, have you thought about unlocking human potential and all that? Do you know what I mean? It's like, hang on. As I'm walking, I'm going a completely different way now. It's like daylight. The moon's up there. You see, it's already like moved. Like it was over there, and like the moon's up there. So I'll keep going. There's a few things I want to get off my chest, right? This is actually called, like this mission is called Apollo Philip, Mission Common Sense. Roger that, over and out. Do you know what I mean? Like notice of grant of bail, court adjourned on the 15th of May 2026. And you may have, do you know what I mean? Like, shall I just keep making this video? Like, hang on. I don't want to. I'm not looking at. So I'm not even looking at court adjourned and all that. You may have, like, someone might have done that to me. Like, 1 second, bear with me. I'm trying to like hold like loads of different things. Like, maybe you met me in 2012 and you deeply regret how you treated me, and it's like the moon, the position of the moon in the night sky is being dictated by that guy called Philip John Platts. You may have met me in the past, and it's like, hang on, maybe I've got like Jeanette Wallace House, South, like Maudsley and South, I've got a medical review. Perhaps I don't need medication, and perhaps it's like I'm actually perfectly fine, I don't have mental health, and perhaps it's like I'm in my medi, and it's like, hang on, this bag's going all over the place, and it's like, like you're trying to put me on promethazine, like you're trying to put me on like promethazine tablets to help me sleep. How about there's like no such thing as mental health, and like the whole mental health system needs to be shut down, because like the guy that's been told he's bipolar and psychotic for his life is actually the Imam Mehdi, who's created his own religion called Common Sense, and like the religion of Islam has ruined all creativity for like Arab people for like 1400 years. The mental health system has ruined all creativity for like lovely, creative, sparky people like who've been labelled as autistic and ADHD. And it's like the moon's up there now, and it's like, hang on, you see how like the moon's up? Can you see the moon's up there now? And it's like, if I just continue walking down here, and it's like, it's called like, I'm also going to call this like, that Usher song U-turn, like it's time to learn to do the U-turn. So it's like, wherever Philip John Platts, you may have known Philip John Platts, you may have met him in 2012 or like in 1997, or like, you may have met him in 2015 in a mental health hospital and just not listened to him. You may have had like loads of psychology and like being bullied, and like I may have been in like that Blackheath in 2018 and being stabbed by biros, and like I was like completely and utterly like in shock, and just like I was like completely deluded and didn't know what I was doing because you were bullying me, when actually in 2018 I felt Jannah on earth, the weather around me was changing because the Lord spoke to me on the phone. And it's like, do you know what I mean? Like, perhaps if you actually just like listen to people, perhaps if like there's no such thing as mental health, like Kanye West doesn't have bipolar, and it's like, like people with bipolar disorder is actually just like a range of emotion and like creativity. Like did Einstein, like, there's like no such thing as mental health, it's all man-made rubbish, and like Sharia law is a load of rubbish. Like, we're in the modern day, we're not in like 6th century Arabia. Like, perhaps if you just use common sense and like hear people out, and like not just like stone them and cut their hands off and be a dickhead. And it's like the moon's up there now. So the moon's up there now. Let's actually like make this a bit of a longer video. Do you know what I mean? This is I'm currently like, you know, like I don't have to spend like millions of pounds on a space rocket and go up to the moon when I can just walk down Croydon near where I live. Like just turn out my house and the position of the moon in the sky is dictated. The whole orbit and position of the actual moon in the sky is dictated by Philip John Platts walking down the street. Do you know what I mean? Like, no, so like the moon, can you see like the moon's up there now? Like when I walked out of the house, I'm gonna make this a bit of a longer video because like I like long videos. It shows my personality a bit more and common sense. You know, like Jesus isn't the son of God, and like God is actually a woman with like purple hair, blue eyes, a sexy hourglass figure and tan reddish shiny skin and all that. And you notice how like, oh look, the moon's moved quite a lot actually, like just by me talking about a lot, the moon's moved quite a lot. Right, I'm actually like, instead of like, it's called time to learn and do the U-turn. So like the moon has followed me like from over there to over there. Let's see if it actually follows me on the way back. Like the actual position of the moon is being dictated by that guy. You may have met him in the past. He's called Philip John Platts, and he's like actually a really lovely guy, creative, like lovely guy. He's like, his nature is like to try and help people. You know, so like the moon's kind of like 154. I remember getting a 154 to Wilson School and being like bullied, like you know like people in Wilson's grammar school because they're like arrogant, like posh dickheads, because I had a slight Croydonian accent. They took the piss, like my teacher took the piss out of me because I said the word butter with a slight Croydonian accent. I didn't pronounce the T's. He said, "Ooh, it's not B-U apostrophe A," and then like, I was self-conscious about how I spoke throughout my whole teenage years, and I had to have like therapy and just like not talk and be a quiet recluse. And it's like the moon's up there now, like so like the position of the moon in the sky. You know, you may have met me in 2012 and deeply regret exactly how he treated me, and like deeply regret everything you've ever done. Do you know what I mean? You know, you may have like met me in 2012 and deeply regret what you've done and like live a life of misery because like I'm near my Mehdi and I'm like much greater than anyone. I'm not even greater than Muhammad. So I was telling him like, look at my companions. I'm with like Abu Bakr. I'm with like my companions and sitting around like the fireplace in Medina and all that. You know, like how like the moon's up there now, and it's like a Dupper Seal. It's not really like Arab culture in Mecca, is it? You know, like this is my mission. This is like Philip John Platts' mission of like the moon, like rather than me getting like a massive space rocket and like when all that money could have been spent saving African children, and like, you know, like Elon Musk is like spending like billions on like SpaceX when all that money could be spent like feeding the children in Africa and the Brazilian favelas, trying to go to like Mars and all that. Why don't you just be like a normal human being and realise that there's this guy called Philip John Platts in Croydon where like no one rings him, no one talks to him, everyone just demoralises him. Like the moon's up there now. So how like the moon was over there, then the moon was over there, and now it's like the moon. This is called Apollo Philip. It's called common sense. Roger that, over and out. Roger that, over and out. Do you know what I mean? Like I didn't really want to get to this stage. I just wanted to like see like the moon's like following me back home, and then you can see it in the daylight. It's even better because it's daylight. It's just like, you know, like this is my mission to like establish common sense in the world and like stop being a dickhead. And like I said, like my number one companion is Tommy Robinson. It's like you know when you have like common sense and you see the truth, you just say it and like not be a dickhead. Do you know what I mean? Perhaps like, you know, like when Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was speaking about like how he's a prophet and he's trying to help you stop worshipping idols and being a peasant dickhead, and then like you're killing his family in front of him and stoning him. Then he's had to go to like battles, and even in the battles they weren't like nearly lost the battle of Uhud or whatever it is, because the people in the hill weren't listening to him, so he nearly got killed. Perhaps if you actually just listen to like to the people who actually got common sense, you wouldn't turn into 7th century Arabian dickheads trying to take over Britain and Europe. Do you know what I mean? Perhaps like this is my mission of common sense. You know, it's how like the moon is like following me back, like, and the thing is like everyone around me is like either on their phone being like stupid or like driving a car just like completely oblivious to the moon, the actual position of the moon in the sky being dictated. But you know, Philip John Platts, you might have met him in the past, you may have met him in 2012 and deeply regret exactly how he treated him. Do you know what I mean? Like, see how like the moon's up there now? So like you visibly saw, I walked out of my house, I'm just walking down the road and using common sense, right? And like I've also got the spirit of Jesus in me, like, so I'm much greater than Jesus. And it's like the moon was over there, it followed me down there. Look, everyone's just driving their cars and like beeping and being dickheads. I'm like keeping fit and walking, I'm playing golf and like trying to improve on what Michael Jackson taught the world. Like, like the whole Michael Jackson movie. It's like, you don't want to idolise Michael Jackson forever. You want to be like him, but you want to be your own person, but like learn from him and like improve, which is exactly what I've done. I've learned from Michael Jackson. I've learned from Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. I've learned from Mike Austin and improved myself and become like a better version of anyone. Like I didn't want to get like this. Like I've got like I've had loads of anxiety and like bullying in my life. It's how like by the tone of my voice I'm not using, have you noticed by like the tone of my voice and like the energy in my face, I'm not using taqiyya. I'm not like being like Sadiq Khan and like using my head to like deceive and like trick you. I'm actually speaking from the heart. You know how Tommy Robinson speaks from the heart and he's speaking facts. That's what the Imam Mehdi, who's like the Islamic saviour, has shut down all religions, is actually doing. Do you know what I mean? This is called Apollo Philip. The moon's up there now. Just show you, look at the moon. You see the moon is like followed me on the way back. Yeah? Like people actually going to fucking listen to Philip John Platts. You actually going to fucking listen, like for 34 years, like no one's listening to me, yeah? Alright. Yeah, see how like when I get really angry, I like try and tone it down and people like, oh look, the moon, the moon's up there now. Oh. Right, over and out. I spent like no money on that Apollo mission. That Apollo mission was better than any Apollo mission in history by 1 trillion miles. And it's like I didn't spend any money. I was just walking down the street, and you notice how like I don't need to go to the gym to like get strong. I never go to the gym, and it's like you don't need a six pack. You need like a bit of a belly to like support you and all that. Like the mass of like your belly causes you to pivot. You don't need to go to the gym. I never go to the gym. I've worked up a sweat not by going to the gym, but by using common sense and like looking at the moon. And like praising Allah, do you know what I mean? So like I'm back home now. It's not really like Arab culture in Mecca and like the moon's up there now. It's how the moon was following me. Right. Like, so sorry, I shouldn't say. Basically, nearly slipped up there, but right, I'm back home now. That was fun.